This time we are discussing about a skill that I think is going to become extremely valuable, especially for younger people, people who are younger than 25, but even people who are older and need to adapt to the current environment. The skill is being called thick skin, and of course, it's not coding, it's not something fancy, creating art, creating music, creating poetry, writing. It's nothing of that sort. But this thick skin is actually resilience, but in a different form. And I'm gonna tell you why this is the case and why it's important. And it's not just another fluff video, because the point of it is there is a lot of fabulation and a lot of data that's being produced right now without a generator. Let me make it more clear. We are entering an era where that internet theory becomes alive, where I would say most of the information that is on the internet is not even produced by humans. Everything that you are listening to, that you are seeing, unless you can tell it's not a deep fake, for example, like in this case, but not even like this, because you're just listening to a voice, right? You cannot tell who is behind it. But in the case of maybe a known person that's on video, sure, that's not a deep fake unless something is terribly wrong with that person or they state something extremely weird, in which case you need to figure out, is that for real? Is it not? What's happening? The deepfakes are becoming extremely advanced, especially the ones where a lot of money can be put in. So not the free versions, of course, not the things that people can do without any sort of experience. Right now, the deepfakes are still, let's say, a commodity. They're still expensive. Okay, it's by the way, it's a choice that I'm not sharing my face anymore in those audios. I have a better setup, I have a better place where I could film those videos than I did back then when I was in the room of my parents' house. But see, I really don't want to be part of this environment anymore. And lots of people have gone this way. Of course, it's quite tough not to be on the internet anymore, and it's quite tough to make sure that your image is going to be exactly what you want, extremely curated, because you cannot do it anymore. But let's go back to the idea of the amount of data that's being presented on the internet. And the issue with the amount of data that's being presented on the internet is that, again, it's so easy to confabulate, it's so easy to create things, it's so easy to just input prompts in some AIs. The amount of data that can be generated, the amount of craziness that can be exported by those models, and also good data as well, it just floods everything else. And you have people who are posting AI generated things. There are lots of newspapers, online newspapers, right, which are blogs and so on, that have articles which are AI generated. Lots of LinkedIn posts are AI generated, emails. AI generation is everywhere, and this is close to my field of competence, so I can speak about this with a lot of belief. What we need to do is to develop this resilience, because a huge risk for anybody is that their image likeness is going to be used in a negative way. It happened to a friend of mine. It happened to a person I know. He's, let's say, mildly popular. He doesn't have that many views, but that many followers, but still a pretty large following. Let's say he's a low tier or even mid tier influencer, okay? But he's not an influencer due to his nature. He has a job with exposure and so on and so forth, right? And I got ads, deep fakes of this guy that was promoting some sort of medicine. I don't know what it was. He was uh, presenting some sort of cure, and it was of course a deep fake of the guy. There were clear inadvertencies, I could tell them, but for somebody who doesn't know the guy personally, maybe that would have been more difficult. In that particular video, the guy was wearing glasses, and he typically doesn't, right? He does have glasses, but in his public image, he doesn't wear the glasses. So that deepfake was trained on him wearing glasses. So, and of course, there are like small inadvertencies. You could see it in the shape of the face and so on, but it's so easy to for people to get lost in the speed of life, and then your image is going to be used in malicious ways. And when you see yourself in such a situation, man, you need to have resilience. I've also seen instances where pictures of friends of mine were being used on dating sites. I mean, we're going back to the whole identity theft is not a joke. But this is why I'm telling you. If somebody wants to harm you, or if somebody wants to do anything negative to you, it's so easy to do that with the resources that we have right now. Things have become a jungle. So what you need to develop is the skill of, we have this saying that the dogs are barking, but the bear is moving, right? He keeps on walking, which is a weird way of saying that if you know your truth, if you know who you are, if you know your path, if you know what you need to do, you have to keep on moving and to try to ignore the noise. It's going to be a lot of noise. I believe that because the algorithms are no longer ours. We do not understand what they create. We do not understand what they provide to us. The only thing that we can see is the results, and those results are targeted by some people, right? If you are a guy, you're going to be offered a lot of sex, a lot of attractive females, a lot of money, status, things that any guy, any young guy wants. Power, right? If you're a woman, you're probably gonna be offered something completely different. I don't know because I don't have your experience, but I'm definitely 100% sure that it's not as sexualized and not as much money centered and success centered and get this fast car and look at this guy who has all the things that you want. I don't think it's like that. And of course things are different from people, person to person, and the algorithm is different, but I noticed that it takes very little, 15 minutes or something like that, to completely shift your algorithm in a way that's just insane. I reset my algorithm and I wanted to see how fast I can make it provide to me a specific kind of posts, right? Which were left wing, it doesn't matter, okay? Something that I would not typically go to in, let's say, in the red area of politics. Okay, so because it was very different from my feed who had no politics in it. I said, okay, let's try this, and I didn't want to try with extremism. I wanted to say, okay, let's go to socialism and see all about that. And anyway, okay, so it took, I think, 15 minutes, and I got fed more and more extreme things. It started with some economics, then it went into, of course, politics, strong socialism, and then something weird happened. Again, I started getting sexualized content, but also extreme left content. So, yeah, the algorithms work in ways in which me and you do not know. This thing will probably reach 2 or 3 real people. It doesn't matter. If it reaches you, you have to understand that the internet is no longer ours. What is happening there is no longer human-centric. And you need to get away from all the algorithms that are trying to make you do things. Use the internet as a tool, as a resource. You can do research. You can look at interesting things. I just spent 1.5 hours looking at cities in Norway who are close to the North Pole and so on, and I found it fascinating. The internet is beautiful, but you are no longer using it. Right now it is using you, and please just be mindful of that. Your life is gonna be much better without being dragged by algorithms. But it's such a tough fight. And no matter what's being said about you, no matter how bad something makes you feel, that's false, fake, or AI generated, the only move, the smartest move, is to ignore it. It's not to deny it, not to combat it. Because once you do those things, you legitimize those actions. You just ignore it. And I'm wishing you, in those very, very weird, nasty times that we're living in, I'm wishing you patience and the best of luck, because we kind of need it.